So, as Doctor Who watchers may have noticed, it's gone downhill. In fact, many Doctor Who fans have stopped watching altogether. But where did it all go wrong? Well, that's what I intend to tell you in this video. So, most of the script is based on several arguments I had at the start of the Whittaker era with several people, where I discussed Doctor Who and where it went bad. Specifically that it went bad before the first female Doctor. I'll also only briefly touch on Jodie Whittaker's Doctor for two reasons, and the first of which is that I didn't make it through her first episode, it was just unwatchable. And although I did watch the odd episode, you know, like it was on the TV when I walked into a room, or Family Christmas where, you know, Christmas includes a Doctor Who special no matter how awful it is. The second reason is simply that to make these videos I have to rewatch episodes or at least flick through them to get clips and screenshots. That would require me at least partially watching Whittaker episodes, and ain't nothing worth that. Now finally, after all that intro, where did Doctor Who go wrong? Well, let me take even longer to get to my point by going on a tangent about who my favourite Doctor is. Well, it's obviously Christopher Eccleston, followed by David Tennant, William Hartnell and then Matt Smith. I've given this list for two reasons. The first of which is that I like the first Doctor, who was an older guy. I had no issue with the Doctor becoming old. I mean, lots of people were against Peter Capaldi just because they felt he was going to be too old. Now, I was apprehensive about the large age jump all at once, but I would have welcomed a more older serious Doctor. I did find it a bit strange that the Doctor was getting more and more silly though. Now, many of you would have watched sitcoms where the main characters grow up and age with you, and the shows change as they grow and it keeps up with the audience. Now, Doctor Who is the opposite. It gets less and less serious as time went on. It started appealing to younger viewers. Let's just say a jump to a more serious Doctor would have been appreciated by me, even if a bit abrupt. But that isn't what happened. Peter Capaldi was the worst Doctor so far. Not only did the writing get worse, but he was even less serious than Matt Smith. Where do I feel Doctor Who really went wrong? Well, this may be a controversial opinion, but it was the choice of an assistant, Bill. Bill was and is an awful character. I'm not going to be all negative here, I'm going to offer a better alternative and just give you a glimpse of what the Doctor could have had for an assistant. And from the same episode that Bill was introduced, no less. This is from season 10, episode 1. It's the episode where we first meet Bill. In fact, she is met within the first scene of this episode, and I'll show it to you here.
Potts?
Yeah.
Bill Potts?
You wanted to see me?
You're not a student at this university.
No, I work in the canteen.
Yeah, but you come to my lectures.
No, I don't. Well, I never do that.
I've seen you.
Love your lectures. They're totally awesome.
Why'd you come to my lectures when you're not a student?
Okay, so my first day here in the canteen, I was on chips. There was this girl, student, beautiful, like a model, only with talking and thinking. She looked at you and you perved. Every time. Automatic, like physics, eye contact, perversion. So I gave her extra chips. Every time. Extra chips, like a reward for all the perversion. Every day, got myself on chips, rewarded her. Then finally, she looked at me like she'd noticed, that I actually noticed all the extra chips. Do you know what I realised? She was fat. I'd fatted her. But that's life, innit? Beauty or chips. I like chips. So does she, so that's okay.
And how does that in any way explain why you keep coming to my lectures?
Yeah, it doesn't really, does it? I was hoping something would develop.
So first impressions are really important. Arguably the most important scene for any character is their introduction, and this was a bad introduction. What do we find out? Well, she works in the canteen. Nothing wrong with that, but not exactly the most exciting of jobs. She's a lesbian, which has no relevance to her character or the story. At least not until she gets a girlfriend and she comes along like Rory did. But until that happens, we don't care. And she's either some kind of incel or pervert. Don't believe me? Let's just look at that description she gives the girl. And remember, this is the first time she's met this girl, so she doesn't know whether she's good at talking or thinking. And I went to uni, and I can give you my personal guarantee, not everyone there is all that bright. I mean, I was there after all. What she's done is project characteristics onto this girl. Not only that, but she arranges her professional life to come in contact with her, focusing, even obsessing on a random student she's never really met. She is not an assistant, she's one step from being a stalker. Which brings me to the second girl I want to talk about, the better alternative. The girl with a star in her eye, and this is her first scene.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Sorry, can I ask, what's that in your eye?
It's just a defect in the iris.
Looks like a star.
Well, it's a defect.
At least it's a defect that looks like a star.
I'm getting it fixed.
Okay. Sorry, none of my business. But are you freaking out about something?
Please, you can say no. Would you come with me? Can I show you something?
God, yes. I love this place, don't you?
I hate it.
Why?
I don't know, I just do. Everywhere I go, I just want to leave.
Can I come too?
Maybe. There's a puddle over there. It hasn't rained for a week.
Yeah, but, well, you know, half the students here are blokes.
Go and look in it,
You want me to look in a puddle?
please.
Okay, I'm looking.
So, she's a bit weird, but she certainly stands out. She has a distinctive feature that draws the viewer in. We want to know more about her. She wants to leave everywhere she goes, implying that she'd be open to space adventures, and she at least has some level of intelligence and drive that got her into university. On top of this, we can also imply she's both adventurous and perceptive by finding this hidden puddle and noticing why it was special. Though it could have been the puddle calling to her or some such, but we aren't told anything like that. Now, I don't believe there's any question of which character has the better introduction. One is vulgar and base, and the other sparks intrigue. But not everything is about first impressions. While I'd like to talk about character development, Bill's is non-existent, at least in the episodes I watched, which was most of them. And my preferred assistant, Stargirl as we call her, was only really in the first episode. Although my mind did drift to her in subsequent episodes when I thought what she would do in the same kind of situation. So instead of talking about their character development, I want to look at what actually brings them into the story. Again, let's start with Bill.
Why do you keep coming to my lectures?
Because I like them. Everybody likes them, they're amazing. Why me?
Why you?
Well, plenty of people come to your lectures that aren't supposed to. Why have to come me?
Well, I noticed you.
Yeah, but why?
Well, most people, when they don't understand something, they frown. You smile.
Now let me cut in here and say this is the dumbest reason I've heard. For one, because it doesn't happen in real life. And two, because even in this episode, we see her not understand things, and guess what? She doesn't smile, she frowns, or looks focused like the rest of us.
What am I looking at?
Your reflection.
Yep, there it is.
Do you see what's wrong with it?
My name's Bill, by the way.
Heather. Can you see what's wrong?
Nothing. Just looks like me. Oh. What is that? That's me. That's my face, but it's wrong. Hey!
Sorry, some other time.
But back to Bill.
Is it the same?
Because of the rhymes. What are you doing at this university?
I always wanted to come here.
Yeah, to serve chips.
So anyway, am I nearly done?
Do you want to be?
See ya.
You ever get less than a first and it's over?
You what?
A first. Every time. Or I stop immediately.
Stop what?
Being your personal tutor.
But I'm not a student. I'm not part of the university. I never even applied.
We'll sort all that out later.
You kind of have to sort that out earlier.
Leave it with me. I'm assuming that it's a yes.
Yes.
I'll see you at 6 p.m. every weekday. I don't care who's dying. Never, ever be late. I'm very particular about time.
Oh, people just call you the doctor. What do I call you?
The doctor.
But doctor's not a name. I can't just call you doctor. Doctor what?
So this random girl who turns up to his lectures, like so many other people do, becomes a central part of his life. He decides to meet up with her every single weekday. That's more than I had lessons when I was at uni. But not only this, he also gets her into the university and expects of her a grade which she's almost certainly not capable of. There are undoubtedly many people who attend his lecture who will be better suited for almost anything he could be looking for. On to Stargirl. Now, you've already seen her first scene, and well, this is the second.
Hey! Still making eyes at a puddle?
Did you ever work out what was wrong with your reflection?
Nah.
Come round. I'll show you.
Promise you won't go?
Promise.
Now, long story short, she gets sucked into the puddle. Now, the writing here really goes downhill. But focusing on Stargirl for a minute, first, she got taken in by an alien life form of sorts, like many other characters before her and several assistants. This may not be the most original way to bring a character into the story, but it does the job and actually makes sense. From this point, she shows up like this.
What if it attacks us?
But just to hammer in my point about Bill being an awful character, for those of you still on the fence, watch this.
Why'd you run like that?
Like what?
Like a penguin with his arse on fire.
Ergonomics. That's my face, yeah?
You seem a bit flexible on the subject.
Oh, you have no idea.
Maybe it's got to do with that thing in her eye.
How?
Maybe she's like affected by something.
By what?
I don't know. Look, I know you know lots of stuff about, well, basically everything, but do you know any sci-fi?
Go on.
Well, what if she's possessed? Something like that.
Possessed by what?
I don't know. Saw this thing on Netflix. Lizards in people's brains.
Right, so you meet a girl with a discolored iris, and your first thought is she might have a lizard in her brain? I can see I'm gonna have to up my game.
Even the Doctor realises she's a moron. It really was from this episode that I completely gave up on Doctor Who. I put up with watching it just in case it got better, but every episode was just trash. This essentially continued until Whittaker took over, and as difficult as it may be to believe, the writing got even worse. So bad in fact, I couldn't even make it through the first episode. But on that rather negative note, that's all I really had to say. I hope those of you who didn't already agree can see that Doctor Who was dead, or at least well on its way to dying, long before the first female Doctor. And that even with the bad writing, it could have been so much better if the Doctor just had a decent assistant to play off. But this really is the end. So if you do like to subscribe, tell me in the comments about whether you agree with what I've said. Maybe you think Doctor Who went bad before Bill, maybe even before Capaldi. Whatever the case, let me know. But until next time, I've been Alexander, and this has been Where Did Doctor Who Go Wrong? For one, it just doesn't happen in real life. And two, because even in this episode, we were...